Hello and welcome to another quick install episode of Sailing Sea Dream of Clyde. In this episode, we're going to permanently install our Gen 3 Starlink dish on top of the Dodger above me here using a Trio Flatmount. This mount is much different than most of the mounts you see out there for Starlinks. Most folks on sailboats put it on a pole mount and put it on the aft section of the boat. While that works for some of the older generations, in my view, the Gen 3 Starlink is just a bit big to be having pole mounted back there and has too much windage. So I didn't want to be putting it on a pole mount and be sitting here in a gale with that thing getting battered. With the Gen 3, it doesn't articulate, it doesn't move, so you can mount it flat. And so I'm really excited to do that, and I'm really excited about this new mount we're going to install, so let's get to it. The space we're going to use to install the Starlink with the Trio flat mount is right on top of the Dodger here. It's slightly curved, so I might have to add a few bits of wood just to make sure lines don't get stuck underneath. But it's going to be a really easy installation. We'll drill a few holes, add some epoxy and re-drill them so we're not going to be letting the wood rot at all, and then get this thing mounted up and run the wires and not just be putting it out on top of the Dodger like we've been doing and tying it down. So we're really excited about this. So the Trio flat mount's super easy to put together. It comes with all the hardware necessary, and it's just 4 bolts to put the thing together and then another 4 bolts to bolt it down. So let's get to work. So it's super easy to install this unit. It's numbered, so you just piece it all together. Just like so. So now we got these 2 pieces put together, and we're going to be able to slide them together on the Starlink unit itself and then bolt the final bits together. So here's the Gen 3 Starlink. As you can see, it's pretty bulky, but draws less power and is narrower, so it allows us to easily mount this flat. So let's slide this together. Slide her on, just like that. You can grab the other section, and same thing. And then just slide that right on, just like that. Boom. Make sure it's all tight in there. No problem. And then we'll grab the other 2 bolts here. All right, and just like that, we got the mount on the Starlink itself. And so that's already something pretty neat that if you weren't going to permanently install your Starlink, this would be a really good solution as well, because this mount frame really protects it. But we're definitely going to be mounting this thing permanently because we're using it pretty regularly, and on a sailboat you want it to be good and secure. And to us, this is a great way to make sure that nothing's going to be getting caught on it. It's not going to be out in the wind, not going to be rattling in the wind, and it's going to be in this really nice little spot for us. So I'm able to kind of get an initial mark with the bolts by just spinning them around. I'm going to get a Sharpie and mark them up and then get the holes drilled. So now I got to figure out where I want to have the cord pass through to be running down the Dodger and then through the deck and down into the cabin where it's going to be installed to the modem. I'm just going to work out that. The cord's nice and flexible, so I'll be able to have it go around some pretty tight corners if I need to. And so yeah, there is that option where you could have it exiting under the flat mount, but we want to keep this all contained here underneath. That's the real advantage of this thing for us. So we got all the dots I'm going to drill now. I'm going to drill them bigger and then put epoxy on them and then drill through the epoxy after, so there's no chance of water getting into the wood core of this Dodger. The epoxy I'm going to use is this stuff called Marine Tex, and it's really great because it's super strong and it's white and glossy, so you wouldn't even notice it being much different than the paint I have up here. So I'll just dab a little bit of that in there, let it harden up, and then drill the next holes and be on our way. We got the epoxy and the resin, mixed up real good. Turns into this kind of nice paste, basically like a toothpaste kind of consistency, and then you can plop that in there. And as it starts to harden up, It's really handy. You can just wet your finger a bit and then rub it and smooth it out to save on some sanding. It's a really great product that I use for a lot of things on the boat. Okay, so we've since moved locations while I waited for the epoxy to cure, and now I'm getting ready to install the Starlink and the frame permanently. So we're gonna drill that in place and then get to work running the wires, which is always a bit of an exciting mystery. Well, unfortunately, the bolts I have to get this on are just a touch short, like maybe a centimeter short or less. So I managed to get 2 on for now, and so it's fairly secure, but I'm look forward to getting some different bolts. That's what it's going to look like for now. And I'm going to work on running the wires now. And then also, once I have access to some wood, I'm going to add just a little wood trim right there to make it so there's no chance of a reefing line or something getting stuck underneath the edge of the panel here and trying to pull it up. It's crazy how thick they made these boats. Here's the crazy thick hole. That's how deep this is. It's nuts. We were unable to find bits of wood and longer bolts to finish up the installation until we got back to San Carlos. However, even installed as it was perfectly secure and out of the way as we sailed across the Gulf of California. We were really happy with this installation already. Once we got to San Carlos, we got some longer bolts and some trim to put under the edges and finish up the installation. Okay, got that installed. It's not aesthetically perfect, but things are hard to get here in Mexico. Some softwood would have been a lot easier to drill and affix here, but the bit of wood I got is just fine, and the thing is really secure, so I'm really happy with it. This concludes our quick episode on installing the Trio Flatmount Speedmount around our Gen 3 Starlink unit. So now it is nice and secure, flat mounted, and out of the way. Thanks for watching.